Welcome to the Ekios Zone. Let's get started. The 1960s stand as one of the most transformative decades in the history of music. This era witnessed an unprecedented evolution in musical styles, genres, and cultural influences, shaping the trajectory of popular music and leaving a lasting legacy that continues to resonate today. From the rise of iconic bands and solo artists to the cross-pollination of different musical genres, the 1960s were a period of experimentation, innovation, and rebellion, reflecting broader social and political changes of the time. The early 1960s saw the continuation of the rock and roll phenomenon that had begun in the late 1950s. Artists like Elvis Presley and Chuck Berry had already established the genre's foundational elements, but the decade brought new dimensions to this vibrant musical form. The Britsh Invasion, spearheaded by bands such as the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, played a pivotal role in transforming rock and roll. The Beatles, in particular, were instrumental in revolutionizing music. Formed in Liverpool in 1960, the band initially gained fame with their energetic, upbeat pop songs. However, their influence quickly expanded as they began to experiment with different musical styles and recording techniques. Albums like Rubber Soul from 1965 and Revolver in 1966 showcased their innovative approach to songwriting and studio production. The Beatles' incorporation of Indian instruments, unconventional song structures, and complex harmonies pushed the boundaries of rock music and inspired countless other artists. The Rolling Stones, with their raw blues-infused rock sound, also made significant contributions to the evolution of music in the 1960s. Their gritty, rebellious image and socially charged lyrics resonated with a generation eager to challenge societal norms. The Stones' music, exemplified by songs like Painted Black and Sympathy for the Devil, reflected a darker, more confrontational approach to rock, contrasting with the Beatles' more melodic style. The 1960s were also marked by the resurgence of folk music, which became a powerful vehicle for social and political commentary. Artists like Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, and Pete Seeger used folk music to address issues such as civil rights, war, and inequality. Dylan, in particular, emerged as a leading figure in this movie with poignant lyrics and a distinctive voice. Dylan's transition from acoustic folk to electric rock with his 1965 album Bringing It All Back Home was a watershed moment in music history. This move sparked controversy among his folk music peers, but also demonstrated the potential for blending different genres to create new and exciting sounds. His subsequent albums, Highway 61 Revisited and Blonde on Blonde, further cemented his role as a transformative figure in popular music. The folk revival was closely linked to the broader countercultural movement of the 1960s, which sought to challenge traditional values and norms. This era also saw the rise of protest songs that voiced dissent against the Vietnam War and other social injustices. Songs like Where Have All the Flowers Gone by Pete Seeger and The Times They Are A-Changin' by Bob Dylan became anthems of this turbulent period. As the 1960s progressed, a new genre emerged, psychedelic rock. Influenced by the burgeoning counterculture and experimentation with mind-altering substances, psychedelic rock pushed the boundaries of conventional music. Bands such as The Byrds, The Grateful Dead, and Jefferson Airplane embraced this genre, incorporating experimental sounds, extended instrumental solos, and surreal lyrics into their music. The Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band in 1967 is often cited as a quintessential psychedelic rock album. Its innovative use of studio effects, orchestration, and non-traditional instruments set a new standard for what could be achieved in popular music. The album's elaborate production and concept-driven approach exemplified the era's fascination with art and experimentation. Psychedelic rock also interested with the burgeoning folk rock movement, leading to the creation of unique fusion styles. The Byrds, for example, combined the jangly guitars of folk rock with the experimental elements of psychedelia, producing hits like Turn, Turn, Turn and 8 Miles High. Simultaneously, the 1960s saw significant developments in soul music, driven by artists who blended gospel, R&B, and pop influences to create emotionally powerful and socially conscious music. Figures like James Brown, Aretha Franklin, and Otis Redding became central to the soul movement, each contributing their unique voice and style to the genre. James Brown, known as the Godfather of Soul, was particularly influential in shaping the sound of modern funk. His innovative use of rhythm and emphasis on the groove laid the groundwork for the funk genre that would gain prominence in the 1970s. Songs like Papa's Got a Brand New Bag and I Got You, I Feel Good showcase his dynamic stage presence and rhythmic innovation. Motown Records, founded by Berry Gordy in 1959, played a crucial role in the popularization of soul music. The label's Motown sound, characterized by its smooth, polished production, catchy melodies, and a strong rhythm section, produced numerous hits and helped bridge racial divides in the music industry. Artists such as Stevie Wonder, The Supremes, and Marvin Gaye became household names through their association with Motown. The 1960s were a decade of profound change and experimentation in music. The evolution from the rock and roll of the early part of the decade to the diverse and innovative sounds of the late 1960s reflects a broader cultural transformation. The British Invasion, the rise of folk and protest music, the explosion of psychedelic rock, and the growth of soul and Motown all contributed to a rich and dynamic musical landscape. The experimentation and blending of genres that characterized the 1960s set the stage for future developments in music, influencing countless artists and shaping the direction of popular music for decades to come. The legacy of the 1960s endures not only in the music that continues to be celebrated, but also in the spirit of innovation and rebellion that defined the era.